Welcome back to Animal Notebook. In today's explainer, titled Manta Rays, Majestic Marine Wonders, we are getting up close and personal with one of the ocean's most extraordinary creatures. Historically, when humans first spotted these giant winged fish gliding through the water, they actually gave them the incredibly intimidating nickname, the devilfish. I guess they assumed anything that massive just had to be terrifying, right? But as we're going to see today, that myth couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is that these animals are incredibly gentle, highly intelligent, plankton-eating giants.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our structural roadmap for today. We'll start with 1. Meet the gentle giants. 2. Anatomy of a giant. 3. Brains and curious behavior. 4. Feeding and the life cycle. 5. Threats to their survival. And we will finish up with 6. Frequently asked questions.
Section 1. Meet the gentle giants. An intro to manta rays.
Just look at this magnificent creature. Manta rays are absolutely the largest rays on Earth. We are talking about marine animals that can easily weigh over 3,000 pounds, with some exceptionally large individuals pushing a mind-boggling 5,500 pounds. To put that in perspective, that is heavier than a lot of cars on the road today. And they boast these massive wing-like pectoral fins that can stretch up to an astonishing 29 feet across. But despite their colossal size, I really want to clarify right out of the gate. Unlike many other rays, mantas are completely harmless filter feeders. They don't hunt large marine life, and they pose absolutely zero threat to humans.
Section 2. Anatomy of a giant. Physical traits. So there's a clear distinction between the two recognized species of manta. On one side, we have the giant oceanic manta ray, or Mobula birostris. This is the true giant, reaching that maximum 29-foot wingspan we just talked about. It's a highly migratory, open ocean wanderer that travels thousands of miles. Then on the other side is the reef manta ray, or Mobula alfredi. It's a bit smaller, capping out around 15 feet, and it much prefers to hang around coastal areas, tropical coral reefs, and atolls.
If we look at their physical structure, manta rays are cartilaginous fish. What that means is their skeletons are made entirely of lightweight, flexible cartilage, rather than heavy bone, which is very similar to sharks. See those two distinct horn-like fins flanking their mouth? Those are called cephalic horns, and they use them to literally funnel water and food straight into their mouths. Also, their tail is completely stinger-free. Oh, and here's a really fascinating anatomical fact for you. The unique pattern of spots on a manta ray's belly acts exactly like a human fingerprint. It actually allows marine researchers to identify and track individuals throughout their entire lives.
Section 3. Brains and curious behavior. Intelligence and socials. I absolutely love this fact. Manta rays possess the largest brain-to-body weight ratio of any cold-blooded fish species. This high level of encephalization puts their cognitive abilities on par with highly intelligent marine mammals, like dolphins and whales. They aren't just swimming around mindlessly. They have excellent memories. They show immense curiosity toward human divers, and they can even learn by observing other rays.
And all that brain power translates into deeply complex social lives. Captive manta rays have actually exhibited behavior suggesting self-awareness when placed in front of mirrors, which is something very, very few animals can do. Out in the wild, they will politely line up at coral reef cleaning stations. It's like an underwater car wash where they wait for tiny wrasses to remove parasites from their skin, and they even communicate their readiness using specific body postures. And perhaps most spectacularly, they engage in aerial breaching. They will leap completely out of the water to heights of up to 6 feet, likely to communicate, play, or shake off external parasites.
Section 4. Feeding and the life cycle. Diet and reproduction.
Now, when it's time to eat, a manta ray unfolds those cephalic fins we mentioned earlier to create a funnel. As they swim forward, plankton-rich water just rushes into their wide mouths and passes over these specialized, sponge-like tissue filters called gill rakers. These rakers trap tiny zooplankton and krill. But here's where it gets really cool. When food is concentrated but scarce, these intelligent creatures don't just feed alone. They coordinate. They'll line up head to tail in chain feeding formations, or they'll even loop together in massive, mesmerizing cyclone feeding circles to maximize exactly how much plankton they can all filter at once. But all of these incredible behaviors are balanced by a highly fragile reproductive math. Manta rays utilize what's called a K-selection reproductive strategy, which means they invest heavily in very few offspring. They are ovoviviparous, so the eggs actually hatch inside the mother, and after a long 13-month gestation period, she gives birth to typically just one single live pup. On top of that, females only breed once every 2 to 3 years. Because this birth rate is so incredibly slow,
If their populations take a hit, it takes a very, very long time for them to bounce back.
Section 5. Threats to their survival. Conservation status.
So the absolutely crucial point here is the combination of human-driven threats they're facing today. Currently, both major species are listed as vulnerable by the IUCN, and the giant oceanic manta was actually recently uplisted to endangered. The single greatest existential threat to them is targeted fishing for their gill rakers. These are dried and sold in traditional medicine markets as a pseudo-scientific remedy, despite lacking any verified medical efficacy whatsoever. On top of that, they're frequently killed as accidental bycatch in large commercial fishing nets, and their open-mouth feeding mechanisms make them highly susceptible to ingesting deadly marine plastic pollution. Fortunately, there is a serious global push to protect them. International treaties like CITES now strictly regulate the trade of manta products. But you know what the most powerful tool we have is? Sustainable ecotourism. Countries like Indonesia and the Maldives have established massive marine sanctuaries because they realized a profound economic truth. A dead manta ray sold for its parts brings in a one-time fraction of cash. But a living manta ray, gracefully swimming alongside divers and snorkelers, generates over $1 million in tourism revenue over its lifespan. That is a real game changer. Section 6. Frequently asked questions. Let's kick off our rapid-fire FAQ to hit the 4 biggest questions viewers of Animal Notebook usually still have about these guys. Question number 1. Do manta rays have venomous stingers? This is, for sure, the most common concern people have when they hear the word ray. Well, the answer is a resounding no. Like we noted earlier, manta rays lack any sort of venomous tail spine or barb. They are completely harmless to humans and have zero stinging capabilities. They are truly the ocean's gentle giants. Question number 2. We know they swim near the surface to feed, but how deep can a manta ray actually dive? This fact always surprises people. While they definitely love the warm surface waters, manta rays are extreme divers. They can plunge to depths of over 1,000 meters. That is more than 3,280 feet deep. They do this to escape natural predators like orcas and large sharks, or sometimes just to regulate their body temperature in the cooler, deeper waters. Question number 3. How long do manta rays live? Because they mature so slowly and reproduce so infrequently, they've evolved to live long, graceful lives. If they are left undisturbed by human threats, a manta ray can live for 40 to 50 years and potentially even longer out in the wild ocean. And our final question for today's explainer. How do marine biologists and researchers actually identify individual manta rays in the vast ocean? It all comes down to their bellies. Every single manta ray has a completely unique pattern of spots on its ventral side, acting just like a human fingerprint. Researchers photograph these bellies to track their global movements, their lifespans, and their population numbers. Manta rays are intelligent, social, and completely irreplaceable marvels of the deep. So the question we have to ask ourselves now is, will humanity learn to value these million-dollar living wonders before it's too late? Thank you so much for joining us on this Animal Notebook Explainer. Keep exploring, and as always, stay curious.